Hey guys, it's Commissioner Arrington, and I'm here with Jarrod Dillon, President of Business Operations for Orlando City and Orlando Pride. Jarrod, how are you doing today?
Morning, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. And now, this is your first time being out here at East Lake.
I can't wait.
Wonderful, guys. We're going to take Jarrod out, run a little bit around East Lake, check out the biodiversity, learn a little bit more about Jarrod, and also what Orlando City and Orlando Pride are up to here in our community as well. Jarrod, you ready?
I'm ready to go.
Come on, man. Let's jump on. Jarrod, congrats on making it out here today.
Thank you. Thanks for having
Wonderful.
me. This is exciting.
What a great way to spend a Thursday morning.
My first adventure out here, and I get to do it with a local. So
hey, that's great.
I'm expecting the A tour.
That's good. Now, you and I were just talking back on the dock a little bit, and you were saying you didn't really grow up around boats or being on the water. Or
I didn't. I grew up, pretty far away out in Northern California. Beautiful place, wine country, right? So, you know, the grapes, the vineyards kind of was the backdrop. We just didn't have a ton of water to be around. My wife grew up on Lake Shasta, which is up in Northern California near the Oregon border. Beautiful lake. And so when I got to know her and dating her, I got to know her family, and we'd go out on the water, and that's where I really got introduced to it. Now living out here in Florida, you know, everywhere you go, right?
That's right.
Everybody's got a boat. Those are my best friends, my neighbors with boats.
Those are great neighbors to have, right?
But it's phenomenal. I love getting out there with our daughters, whether it's a sunset cruise or getting them out there, teaching them how to wakeboard, tubing. Just beautiful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, you know, Jarrod, it's interesting. You're being the president of business operations for soccer.
Yep.
Now, soccer isn't your background.
What
though,
is that?
right?
Yeah. How does that happen?
Right? So if I'm a kid and I'm like thinking, I'm not going to make it to be a pro soccer player. Talk to me a little bit about because I know you and I have talked about this before, your route to get here.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that and kind of how you got here.
Well, even though I wasn't a professional soccer player, I was an athlete a long time ago, very average one. But you know, I grew up like a lot of folks that want to be around sports, playing sports. Mm-hmm. So I played mainly football, American football, baseball, basketball. Was fortunate to go play college football at the University of Oregon. That's why I don't know about this Auburn hat. You know, beating my Ducks in the national championship. I was at that game, 2011.
Yeah, it was a great game.
My wife was pregnant with our first daughter. We were at that game. But anyways, and Gus Malzahn and I still joke about that when I talked to him because he was coaching that team.
Yeah.
But long story short, when my playing career was over, I knew I wanted to be around sports, but I didn't necessarily want to go into coaching or being an agent. I wanted to be in the front office on the business side specifically, and studied undergrad business minor and decided to go to grad school to get my MBA to get a stronger business background, and just really got fortunate. Right place, right time, worked hard, got to know the right people, great mentors, and I've been doing this for 24 years now. I've worked in Major League Baseball twice, cumulatively for about 12 years. Worked in the NFL for 3-4 years. Worked in the NHL, where I was most recently, before coming to Orlando, won 2 Stanley Cup championships, helping run the Tampa Bay Lightning.
That's awesome.
Was there for 7 years. And then now I've been blessed, my family and I have been here in Orlando with Orlando City and Orlando Pride for about 2.5 years. This is our 3rd season.
That's great.
Yeah. So background-wise, very dangerous, U10 to U12 youth soccer coach, but no higher than that on the technical side.
I like that.
I stick to the business side. There is, for any of our viewers that watch Ted Lasso, there's none of that going on here. There's no football guy becoming a soccer guy. I'm, running sales, marketing, HR, finance, the stadium, that side of our soccer operation. And my job, our team's job, is to work with our GMs that run the soccer operations, Luis Muzi, here in Kissimmee at OHP for all the men's operation, and Haley Carter for the women's operation for the Orlando Pride, to support them, to do everything we need to do to try to win championships.
That's right. We were just talking about how it seems that women's sports really is on that uptick. And how do you guys feel in the business arena around that, I guess?
You know, long overdue is my first reaction, just being a sports executive for 24 years now, and seeing kind of the build. But where women's sports have gone, in particular the last couple of years, the growth on the world scene, but also when you just look here at the U.S., I mean, we're so fortunate in Orlando to have one of 14 women's soccer teams in the National Women's Soccer League, which is the best soccer league in the world.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, so when you look at the success of the U.S. women's national team over the last 20 years, all those women, have played at some point in this league. Most still do.
Yeah.
And now we're attracting other international stars. You look at what the Orlando Pride just went out, and our owners went out and brought in Barbara Banda from the Zambian national team. Only player I believe that I know of to ever score back-to-back hat tricks in the Olympics.
Wow. Okay.
We brought her in from a Chinese club, paid the second largest transfer fee in the history of women's soccer in the United States.
That's amazing.
That's the level of commitment it takes to build a league like that, right?
Yeah.
And then you look at where these teams are that have come in the last couple of years with Angel City in LA, San Diego Wave, now the Bay FC team up in San Francisco, averaging 20,000 a game for the women's game.
That's
and you look at some of these other events that are going around the world, European soccer clubs, women's teams drawing close to 100,000. You had the Nebraska college volleyball game.
Yeah, right.
Would they have 60, 70,000 for an outdoor volleyball game?
Yeah.
So,
and not to mention Caitlin Clark.
That's right.
Selling out every
it's unbelievable.
Right?
So we're just in a great time, and quite frankly, for my family and I, it was one of our callings to come to Orlando City and Orlando Pride. I have 3 daughters. We have 3 daughters. I coach them all in every sport. I've coached them in just about everything you can imagine. But soccer has been the most. I probably coached them for 8 years collectively in soccer. So for us to have an opportunity to come to Orlando, live in a beautiful place, help run the 2 soccer clubs, and in that case of the Pride, to help get that franchise up to where we believe it should be, and the community is responding.
Yeah.
We were talking about this last night. We had Mayor Dyer, who's a Kissimmee boy, out there with a number of executives in his suite last night, hosting to show off the Pride, what we have in our city. Our women's team, we'll probably average 7,000 to 7,500 this year.
That's
so
great.
we're growing.
That's great.
But we need to get up there, right? We want to get up there with the 15, 20,000s of the league. So it's exciting. It's a great place to invest if you're a marketer and you want to connect with your local community. So we're really excited about the future of the Pride, as well as obviously Orlando City.
That's wonderful. That's exciting stuff. And I'll tell you what, let's run around, get a little breeze on us, and then we'll stop and we'll talk a little bit about OHP and what that means to you all as well.
Absolutely.
Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Perfect. So, Orlando City has now been at OHP for, my goodness,
since 2020?
2020. That sounds right. It's amazing with COVID, I've lost track of all the things that have happened in the last 4 years. I think like a lot of people, right? But you guys are now there, and y'all are one of our major tenants there all year round.
A lot going on.
Talk to us about what all is happening there with Orlando City and what the future looks like. And
all of our Orlando City, the men's operation is all there. So Orlando City, of course, our MLS team, they train there, our first team. Orlando City B, who's our MLS Next Pro, which is pro, but a level below MLS, but pro soccer.
Okay.
They're headquartered there as well. But they also play their games there at the county stadium, right there on campus.
If I wanted to go see one of those games, how would I do that?
It's easy. You just go buy a ticket on the website. You go out there, super family friendly and affordable. We had almost 1,000 family kids from Osceola School District out there last Sunday for the home opener.
Great.
It's former minor league baseball complex that we've turned in and put a lot of money in with your help and the county's help into making it a soccer complex. So multiple fields there. We have our first team, second team, and then 6 academy teams. So what's an academy team? How does that work? We have kids from playing on the U12s, so 10, 11-year-olds, all the way up to U18s.
Okay.
6 teams. These are hand-picked and recruited kids that are playing in our system, and they're the Orlando City B and eventually Orlando City players of the future.
That's amazing.
We call them homegrowns. That is really the future of Orlando City. And we're looking to grow more and do more there with your guys' help. But it's been a great relationship. Our soccer team loves it. So those guys and gals that run Orlando City and all the teams down there are phenomenal. I don't think people know how extensive the operation is there. I mean, listen, we have 2 professional teams.
I know.
You got Orlando City B, and right next door at Silver Spurs, you got Osceola Magic.
Exactly.
So you can go see the future of Orlando City and the future of the Orlando Magic right there.
That's great.
At OHP.
Well, and to your point, I grew up when we used to have the Houston Astros spring training, which is basically what we're talking about.
That's right.
And we used to love going to those games as a kid. So I can only imagine how great it is for our people to be able to go out and check out your games live right there, seeing that next wave of talent that'll hopefully be the next Messi someday, right? That's the goal.
Well, this is where you and your fellow commissioners the county manager, Don Fisher, and everybody involved deserve a lot of credit, because you guys live the mantra of be first to what's next, right? And I know that's a mission statement, but you live it every day. So for you guys to have the foresight of this, bringing the clubs here, back in 2020, and it started well before that, obviously, to see where that is now is amazing.
Well, and I think with the growth of soccer, football, however you want to call it here in the States, right? I think
we're in the U.S. We call it football. we call it soccer. It's okay.
But it's to see the growth in it, even from my childhood, because there weren't a whole lot of people that played soccer when I was a kid, and then my younger sister, start to see that development start to happen at that young age, where people were maybe moving away from football or some of those other things, and so and then also with our diverse community that we have, I think it only makes sense. I'll be honest with you, that the home of y'all is right here in Osceola County, where you're training, rehabbing, and hopefully becoming the next stars to serve our community.
It's been the largest sport, biggest sport in the world for a long, long time. That's not changing, right? Given the popularity in so many other countries. In the U.S., it's been on the upswing for a long time. It's been the fastest growing and the largest youth played sport, off and on for several years. So the key for us, with the National Women's Soccer League and MLS, is transitioning that into the pro level. I think that's continued to build. MLS has continued to rise in the ranks in terms of reputation around the world in soccer leagues. You see a lot more players, like our friend down south in Miami, coming to the U.S. to play. And you're going to continue to see that trend.
I think so.
Right? And then on the women's side, it already is the best league in the world.
That's great stuff. I tell you what, I'm a little ready for some more brews. How about you?
Me too.
And just so everyone knows, we put it in here down in St. Cloud lakefront area, which is right towards St. Cloud, and they've got a great beach and a great trail. We were talking about that before we got in the boat as well. Now we've moved a little closer to the east side, over here by Narcoossee. Why don't we run up to the north end, and maybe we can even see in the close distance some of the Medical City rooftops.
I'd love to see that.
All right, here we go, guys. Jarrod, we're over here on the north side of the lake now, and it is kind of amazing. We were just mentioning how close all this really is to where you guys are at OHP, and also, I mean, literally we're a quarter mile from Medical City here to the north, here on the north side of the lake. Right. But I wanted to ask you, we were talking about soccer moving up, and also I really feel like there's been two big shows lately that have really kind of pushed soccer as well. Welcome to Wrexham. I'm sure I hope you've seen.
Oh, absolutely.
I know I'm a big fan of it as well, and it's great to see. Which I know is something you're always interested in, is how a sport can transform a community.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think that show is a great illustration of what buy-in and belief can look like for a community and for a sports franchise as well. And I guess when you've made your moves in the past to go to different organizations, was that something in the back of your mind, or is it just and I guess now probably, I know it's got to be in the position you're in now, and talk a little bit about, I guess, what the community vibe and sports and what that connection means.
Yeah, it's a great question. I haven't had too many people ask me about that.
Oh, really?
In terms of how it's played in my decision making of where my career's taken my family and I. But I wouldn't even say the back of mind. It's been in the forefront.
Really?
I think if I've learned anything in my professional career, and this doesn't matter what your job is, who you work with or for, working for great people, who you work for matters so much. And so in my last couple stops in particular, and that's what led me to Orlando, quite frankly, felt like I was going to go work for great people with great values that cared about the community. The Wilf family, for our viewers that don't know, that own Orlando City and Orlando Pride, purchased the clubs back in the summer of 21. They've owned the Minnesota Vikings NFL team for 20 years. I've done amazing work in the community there.
They really have.
And they're based in New Jersey and also in Florida. They've done a lot of philanthropic work in their communities. And so when I was going through the process and talking with the family, and the other thing I really loved, it's really family. It's not a corporate setting. This is multi-generational.
It's true.
Right?
It is very true.
And the Wilfs, the owners, they're children of Holocaust survivors that immigrated to the United States, and to be able to build a business and live the American dream, they've experienced it firsthand. So they believe it's their duty to give back.
Yeah.
And now the next generation, their kids are getting involved. And so it's really a great family and people to work for. Us at the local level, it's one of our core goals, right? That is on our wall, that our teams talk about, that when we build our business plans, making a lasting impact on our community.
Yeah.
That's literally one of the core values that we try to live every day. Also in the neighborhood where we are in Paramore and downtown Orlando with the community, we have a lot of opportunity to give back and work with our neighbors there. And then working with Seminole and Osceola with our practice facilities, our training grounds. And so much of it is done through our organization and our partnerships with the counties, our partnership with the city, our partnership with Orlando Health. They do so much for and with us in the community that it allows us to get plugged in quickly.
Yeah. Before I get you off the hook here, I gotta ask you our 3 questions for Voting with Brandon.
All right.
And I want to make sure we get these in. First one, favorite song. It's a tough one, I know.
So I am all over the place with my music genre. I don't know if I have like a one go-to, like, hey, what's your walkout music?
That's right.
It might be what's more recent in my mind. Love some country music. My daughters are in love, have massive crushes on Morgan Wallen.
Okay.
So it's going to be something probably by him right now because it's playing in our house every day.
Is that right?
We're going to go see him in July. So we love our country music in our house.
That's fantastic. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Okay, that I can give you. I got a few, but I'd say being a sports guy, my favorite, if I had to pick one, would probably just be Field of Dreams.
Okay. That's a great choice.
And there's a lot of I won't bore you with kind of family sentiment, tied to that for me. Some of my best memories as a kid were growing up, going out to freezing Candlestick Park in San Francisco, sitting out in the bleachers with my dad.
That's wonderful.
And throwing the ball around. Yeah. So Field of Dreams would probably be the one I would go to, but there's a lot of other great sports movies as well that I would pick.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then the last one is a question I've stolen from Kelly Cohen.
Yeah.
Favorite French fry? We've had a couple people on.
Yeah.
And there is one that seems to pop to the top.
No, I'm going to go with the fries from Teak.
Okay.
Teak Neighborhood Bar and Grill. We got them in the stadium as well. They do burgers for us.
Okay.
Really good. Harold's topped hot dogs in our stadium as well. They're out of Winter Garden.
Nice.
Again, bringing in the flavors of all over.
That's great.
Those are probably 2 of my favorites right now.
Okay, fantastic.
I'm going to go with that.
I like it. Sounds like great choices. It's been really great getting you out here, Jarrod, and go cruising around the lake.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
No problem.
This is a great experience, and your team here has been great. This is a beautiful, beautiful setting. Hidden gem, I guess I would say, but maybe not to everybody that lives here, maybe already knows about it. For everybody that's not here every day, come check it out. Come down to Osceola. Come to OHP, Osceola Heritage Park. Check out a soccer match. Come hang out. But also get out here. Come check out the nature trails and get on a boat. It is beautiful. My first time out here, my family and I will be back. So, I feel like aside from what I get to do every day, I don't have to do this. I get to do this. I get to help run sports organizations in our community. But God blessed me with being the father of 3 beautiful daughters. That's my number 1 job.
I like it, girl dad over here. I like it.
Help raise more good humans, right? That's what we all need.
That is well said.
That's probably for me the most important thing in my life. Work is probably the next. I pour into that, and between faith, family, and work, that pretty much guides us. I'm blessed every day to work with amazing, like I said, almost 200 amazing people that care so much about this community. So much of our staff is homegrown too.
That's wonderful.
Grew up in the greater Central Florida area, and now they get to give back to where they grew up.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
That's really great. That's good. You can hear your passion and commitment to not only your job but our community as well. And I appreciate you having that passion.
Thank you.
To move Central Florida forward, because that's what it takes.
Yep.
To be at the end of
Every
the day
one of us, right?
is all of us being engaged, really trying to move that needle.